Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for episode 14 of Fallout Cookbook Recipes. Today's recipe is one of the three basic, they're called basics in the front of the book. It is one of those three. It is Nuka Cola BBQ Sauce. So this one, as you can see, doesn't have like what it'll do to your strength or endurance and whatnot or any of that. Who would have guessed you could make such a delicious sauce with a few ingredients and Nuka Cola? So this recipe requires a half cup of Nuka Cola soda, a half cup of ketchup, a quarter cup of Worcestershire sauce, a quarter cup of steak sauce, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a tablespoon of hot sauce. So this recipe is used in two separate recipes. It is used in baked bloatfly, which I believe is a vegetarian meatloaf that I will not be making, and in Dusty's Brahmin burgers, which is going to be the next recipe. So that's why I'm making it. Because my Nuka Cola soda is probably running out of its lifespan by now because it's been in the fridge for a couple weeks, so I should probably make it soon and go ahead and get this recipe done. So the first main step, or the really just major step of this, is to combine all the ingredients into a large saucepan over medium to high heat. So I've got the stove going already. So we'll start out with the half a cup of ketchup. Alright, that's our half cup of ketchup, so we're going to add it to the bowl here, or the saucepan as it would be called. Next up, we need a quarter cup of Worcestershire sauce. Okay, that's going to take a while because this is a glass bottle. I'm just going to need to take the top off of it. Now we need a quarter cup of steak sauce. I'm just using, what is this? Just the SE Grocers brand, because a lot of these were just sort of the cheapest things I could find, or the smallest container sizes, because some of them are quite big and I won't use them for much anything else. Quarter cup of the steak sauce. Now we need a teaspoon of onion powder. That's my teaspoon measure, all just very simple plastic measures. So a teaspoon of that. We also need a teaspoon of the garlic powder. Just again, this is an old Kroger brand. I bought this while I was still in Cincinnati. I'm assuming it's probably still okay to eat because I don't think it would have expired or anything because I didn't get it that long ago. Teaspoon of garlic powder. Now we need a full tablespoon of hot sauce. Now as for this recipe, I do think I'm going to end up liking this just because, I love barbecue. I'm a Southerner. I love barbecue. And I'm also happy because this sauce it's ketchup based, which is obviously the better. It's better than the mustard based by a big amount. And it's far better than, there's apparently a mayonnaise-based sauce that's common down in Alabama. That's really odd if you ask me. So the final ingredient for this part is the half a cup of Nuka Cola soda, so I need to prepare that real quickly. So the half cup is going to be pretty much the same as one of the previous recipes that needed that much. Half a cup of seltzer water plus 3 tablespoons of the Nuka Cola syrup. I have heard of recipes like this before, using soda in your barbecue sauce. I have heard of doing this before, so hopefully it's not too bad. So, once we have that, we're going to go ahead and combine it in. Doesn't that just look appetizing? I'll bring the camera over so you guys can see in a minute. So the next thing we have to do is put it on the stove and bring it up to a boil. It hasn't been mixed around yet, so I'm going to stir it up some. I wonder if I should be using my whisk for that rather than the thing I usually use to stir my eggs for scrambled eggs in the morning. I'm sure it won't matter. I gotta clean it anyway, so it's not that big a deal. So yeah, again, I think I'm gonna end up enjoying this for the most part because it is a ketchup based with hot sauce in it, so I like that combination. Looks like I've got a few little chunks of spice in here somewhere. So we have to bring this up to a boil, and I have a feeling though this might stink up the apartment a bit, unfortunately. So once we have brought this to a boil, we have to reduce the heat to low and simmer for 20 minutes. So much like the previous recipes that involved the usage of Nuka Cola. I gotta say guys, that actually looks like it's gonna turn into barbecue sauce. I'm quite surprised at that. So I'd say that it's pretty much boiling at this point. I think that would be definitely considered boiling because of the way all the bubbles and such. So now we're going to drop the heat down to low and let it simmer uncovered for 20 minutes, after which we will continue on. Alright guys, the barbecue sauce is done simmering, and I gotta say it looks and smells like barbecue sauce, so I think I probably did okay. Now, the major thing is the cookbook actually doesn't have a recipe for barbecue. That doesn't particularly surprise me because barbecue is not the fastest or easiest thing in the world to make, so it does kind of make sense, even though it is an American staple. So the next step is to transfer this to an airtight container, cover it, and store it in the fridge for up to 1 month. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to show myself transferring it to my airtight container because that might take a little while because of the way that this saucepan is made. So I'll be back in a few minutes once it's transferred. Alright guys, the barbecue sauce has been transferred to a small Tupperware. Now, this recipe does not make a whole lot of sauce. So if you're going to make this yourself, and you want to keep this for a while and use a lot of it, then you may want to make a double batch or make multiple batches quickly in a row and then mix them all together. I would say that that's probably not a bad idea because it's not a ton of sauce, but it would be enough for a couple of people to enjoy barbecue with. So I have already cleaned my hands. I'm just going to take a quick taste of this. It's not bad. It's oh, there's that spice actually. Okay, that's actually not bad at all. That's got a pretty decent taste to it. The only problem is, of course, I don't have anything to put this on yet to really test it. So this video is not over yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I've got some barbecue places nearby. I can get just like a sandwich to go from there one day after work or something and bring that home, and we can test it with this barbecue sauce and see how good it is on actual barbecue. Then we will proceed to make the recipe that involves the use of Nuka Cola barbecue sauce, which is Dusty's Ramen Burgers. So I will see you guys shortly whenever I get my barbecue. So guys, the real question now is which barbecue sauce is the best? Is this barbecue sauce that I made as good as the sauces from a local place I get barbecue from? Let's find out. Now I'm in South Carolina, so we have typically mustard-based sauce around here. The place I go to has a mustard base that's spicier and a ketchup base that is less spicy. The ketchup base is in North Carolina. The mustard is more South Carolina. Vinegar is also North Carolina. Then Alabama has like a mayonnaise-based white sauce. I have no idea why, because that just seems weird. So let's give it a try with the other flavors. So we're going to start out. This is the spicier mustard based. That's good. Very good. I love that spicier taste to that. I've always been a little more partial to the ketchup base just because I'm from North Carolina, but can't go wrong with the mustard base if it's got some spice to it. So now we've got the ketchup base. I don't care if this spills on the counter a little bit, I gotta clean it up later anyway. Ketchup one's good too. I mean, the ketchup one's very good. It's like I said, I wish that it was a combination of ketchup and spice. That's sort of my more personal favorite. And now finally, we're going to try with Nuka Cola BBQ Sauce. Let's see how it turns out. It's not bad. Really not bad at all. I mean, the Nuka Cola BBQ sauce, it doesn't have a ton of spice to it. It's not like super spicy the way that this mustard one is. I mean, the mustard one isn't super spicy either, but... So it's not extremely spicy, but it's got very good flavor to it. Now, I think this is a little bit closer to like the Kansas City style of barbecue sauce that isn't as good because it's not from the South. Like Southern barbecue and Southern barbecue sauce is unequivocally better to anything else in the country. I'm sorry, but it is the best, except maybe Texas. I've never tried the Texas version of barbecue sauce, which is the Southern sauces that are ketchup, vinegar, mustard based are almost always better than like the main ones, like the Kansas City that's sold all over the country. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on Nuka Cola barbecue sauce. I like the sauce a lot. It tastes fine, but it's probably not something I'd make again just because it's fairly intensive, because you have to go through the process of making the Nuka Cola and stuff first. And it does make a pretty good amount of the sauce though, so that's a good thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you for the next one.